Hey guys, this is Chad Nash. Congratulations, you are under contract on the purchase of your new home. I'm going to spend a few minutes here going over the next steps in the under contract process because it's about to get real. And we want to make sure that we're helping you to get to that closing table and across the finish line. So stay tuned, review this video in detail, and then reach out to me if you have any questions. All right, let's start first. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Nash and Company experience. So, you know, and I've talked about this since we've been working together. Our big thing is the client experience. We want to make sure that you have a superb experience, that when you are closed and you're done, that you run to the mountaintops and tell all of your friends, all of your family, what a superb job we did here at Nash & Co. to help you get into your property and across the finish line. So that is our commitment to you. If we ever fail in that, please let us know because that's what we stand on and that's what we stand by. Next thing, you're going to be getting emails. It's going to be a flurry of emails, and it's going to be from my admin team introducing you to the transaction process. The first person you're going to meet in this process is going to be our transaction coordinator. Her name is Aramis Askew. She will get the transaction started. She'll send a nice welcome email. She'll send over a real calendar, a real time calendar that talks about all the dates, all the deadlines that are going on within the transaction. But that's not for you to track. That's just for your information. It's my job to track that for you and to make sure that we're meeting all of our dates and deadlines. Next on our team is going to be our director of client services. She will be the main point of contact for you during this process. When you can't get a hold of me, please reach out to her because she's the partner to get us across the finish line through what we call the escrow process. She will be my right hand woman to communicate to me the day to day needs of the transaction. And I will be checking in with you on a weekly basis, bi weekly basis, just to make sure everything is going okay. The third person is going to be our client experience coordinator. If you need anything on the ground logistically, moving boxes, we need to set up inspection. We need to order anything that might help you in your transaction or your transition. That's going to be our client experience coordinator. Please reach out to her. But your main point of contacts during this process are going to be your director of client services. She will reach out with an email, and then myself. Okay. Now, the first step in the under contract process is what we call earnest money. So this is going to be your deposit. This is going to be your skin in the game as we move forward to closing on the property. So every property out there has a set amount of earnest money. We talked about this within your contract. The offer is typically about 1% of the purchase price. This is going to be due by the date stated in your contract. It's typically within 72 business hours, but it can vary from contract to contract. So please reference that because if we do not get that deposit into the title company on time, then the contract is null and void. So make sure that we stay on top of that. Aramis, our TC, will send you over all the links to the locations where earnest money can be deposited. She will also let you know any wiring instructions if you need to do wire or you need to make some kind of other arrangements with the earnest money on that end. Now, the next step in this process is the inspections. So we are going to help you coordinate and set up the inspections on your home. Now, inspections are very, very important. It's like looking under the hood of a car. It's like if you go to buy a car from a car lot, you see this big, beautiful, shiny car, but it's always important that we take a look under the hood to make sure that you're not getting stuck with a lemon. So we will help you to coordinate inspections. Now, you have two routes to go. We do have preferred inspectors that we do work with, that we do trust, and we know they do a great job for our clients. However, if you have an inspector that you want to use, we will work with you to get that set up as well. My team will be reaching out to you for the logistics on inspection and how to get those set up and how to remit payment for the inspection. That is an upfront cost, so be prepared for that. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. What we will do is we'll do the inspection. I will get the inspection report back from the inspector. Then we will set up time to talk about our inspection objections. So that will be the first step in the process. Once we create our inspection objections or we tell the seller exactly what we need to get done for us to close or repaired or replaced before we close, we will submit that over to the listing agent. They will now have an opportunity to say, hey, from that inspection objections, we will resolve these issues. They may say we will do every issue you ask for. They may say we'll do half of the issues. They may say we won't do any of the issues. They may say we won't do any of the issues, but we'll give you a credit. We will talk about all of those scenarios when they come up. Please don't wretch your mind right now trying to think through inspections. We will have that meeting together to talk about what the inspection process looks like and how we will get through it to make sure that you are making a smart investment in your home that you are purchasing. Next step from there will be the appraisal process. So this is going to be something that you work with through your lender. We typically ask the lenders to order the appraisal within the first week of going under contract, but that is going to be a discussion between you and your lender on when that is ordered and how that is paid. Now, some lenders will allow you to put the appraisal costs as a part of your closing costs and pay at the end of the transaction. But again, that varies from lender to lender. So please check with them. I don't want to say how lenders do their business. Every lender is different. We will do the appraisal. We won't do the appraisal, excuse me. We will have the appraiser come out, and once the appraiser sends us back the report, we will review that report with you. We'll look at the numbers. We'll look at if any additional repairs are needed for the appraiser for the appraisal value to come in satisfactory. If it comes in low, then we will go back to the agent and say, hey, we may need an additional credit or we need a price reduction. If it comes in high, guess what? You're walking into equity with the new home purchase. So let's just hope that it comes in high. Either way, you will not have to pay a higher amount because of the appraisal. So if it comes in high, the seller cannot come back to you to say, hey, we would like for you to pay the amount that it actually appraised at. It does not work like that. All right. After the appraisal, another thing that you want to think about here is property insurance. So, property insurance, I have listed below a few of my recommendations that you can use and reach out to if you don't have property insurance. You can typically utilize somebody that you have car insurance through, and you can get a nice bundle deal. But if you need some recommendations, look at the individuals that I recommend below. I've used them in various settings for property insurance. I think that they are good folks. They all have different products, so I don't recommend any one over the other. But reach out, let them know that I sent you. They'll also cut you a small discount on that. Okay, after property insurance, from what you will get from RTC, from Aramis, is this property disclosures, the seller property disclosure. You're going to get this property disclosure is the seller's way of cluing you into the history of the property. So by law, most, well, I shouldn't say by law. Typically, most sellers will provide a seller's property disclosure to you outlining the history of certain items in the house, whether it's the HVAC system, the roof, the condition of the roof, the condition of certain appliances. We will use this as a guide. But now remember, we are also doing our own inspection as well. So we will not just rely on the seller to tell us what is going on with the property. That's why we get the inspection done, because it's part of our own due diligence process. But you will be provided that seller property disclosure. The next will be a square footage disclosure. This is the square feet that is on record with the county, and it will tell you how exactly the seller came up with that square feet, whether it's through appraisal, through their own private measurements, through county records, whatever it may be. That's what that disclosure is telling you. After that, we have our lead-based paint disclosure. Now, if your house is newer than 1978, you will not get a lead-based paint disclosure. This is only for properties that are 1978 and older. So if you are purchasing a home that was built in 2000, you will not get this disclosure. However, if it was before 1978, let's say 1960, this will be a lead-based paint disclosure to disclose whether the home is known to have lead-based paint and to offer you the opportunity to test for lead-based paint. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Next, you'll get the affiliated business disclosure. This just says, is there any affiliated business arrangements or disclosures that the seller wants to provide to you. Maybe they have a title company that they're working with, that they have a ownership stake in with the listing agent, whatnot. You'll see this a lot with like Redfins or the Zillows because they do everything in house. We don't have any affiliated business disclosures because we don't have any other third party entities that we own that we would be using to transact your process. Now, the last two things are the definitions of working relationships. This is just going to be a form that outlines how exactly myself, how I can work and represent you or work with you during this transaction. So there should be three items on there that that it will clue you into. One will be a transaction broker, the next will be a customer, and the last one will be agency. So because we are going under contract, and because we're doing business together, our official designation is as agency. That means that my official fiduciary duty is to you and to you only. Okay, now as a customer, that means like, hey, yeah, I can show you homes, I can talk to you about real estate, but I'm not really advocating for you. And transaction broker means that I'm selling the home and helping you to buy at the home. So I'm working in a dual role within the transaction. But for this purpose, we are simply buyer's agents, and we will be your buyer's agent, and that's what we are disclosing to you. That leads me to the buyer's agency agreement, which may or may not be attached here. This is going to be the formal legal agreement between us that allows me to represent you throughout the transaction. It will have the terms of our relationship, it will have the cost of our relationship, it will have any additional fees that may be charged, that may be waived, and it would also have any additional provisions for you to know going into the transaction and how we are going to work together. I will walk through that agreement separately. It is very important that we walk through that. But I just want to clue you in that it may or may not be included in this email. If it is, I don't want you to be alarmed or confused. We will walk through that together. Okay, closing costs. So one thing that we do not control is the lending portion of this process. I always say you should be checking in with your lender at least once or twice a week just to make sure that you know what's going on during the under contract process. Make sure that you're staying on top of anything that's needed for final underwriting. Make sure that you're responsive to your lender, that they're communicating with you anything that they need in a timely manner, because I guarantee you the escrow and under contract process on the lending side is almost like testing to give birth. I mean, there are so many things that they're going to ask you, so many questions. You're going to feel very invaded. I guarantee you. It is a stressful process, but if you stay ahead of it, it won't feel as stressful in that regard. So, the one thing I want to talk about there is making sure you have your closing costs and make sure you distinguish between closing costs and down payment. That again will be a lender question. Just make sure you're clear on that. Now, the cost you're going to incur during this escrow process again is the upfront earnest money. You're going to incur the cost for the inspection, and you may or may not incur the cost upfront for the appraisal. So those are the things that you can expect to pay. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me. We don't control those costs. There's no cost to us. There's no cost to work with us up front. But just again, just plan for earnest money, inspection, and appraisal. And then also make sure you're staying in communication with your lender with regards to closing costs. All right. We have also attached our under contract guide to this email. This will give you a refresh of everything we just talked about in this video, along with this email, which you can see as a synopsis below. We talk about all the steps there. So if you have any questions, refer back to that guide. I try to make it very succinct and talk about every step of the process. And I also include at the bottom what it means for buyers and what it means for sellers so that it's super clear to you. Okay, that's about it for us to get started. Once you review this video and you review this email, and if you need to review that guide, if you have any additional questions, please do reach out to me. I'm happy to be a resource for you. Our first two items of business that we need to take care of is that earnest money, and we need to get your inspection set up. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me. or to our Director of Client Services. Once again, I am super happy. I'm stoked for you. Thank you for allowing us an opportunity to join you in this journey towards closing on your new property. We are super honored and we look forward to continuing to work with you. All right.